So if you have no anger that lives within you from your entire life in your childhood, which by the way, we all have something in there, right?
I'm like, yeah, I'd like to meet you.
Yeah.
If you don't,
then could you be on the show? That would be really cool.
Here's the deal. We're two moms and we popped babies out in our 40s. And
Yes.
it's hard.
It was hard.
It's also the best thing that's ever happened to either one of us, I think.
Yeah, but now we're moms in our 40s.
In our 40s.
With preschoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's bring the community together of women.
All the moms, 40, 20, night. It's not days or night.
And also, like, let's just talk about like real shit, real life, real women shit.
Yeah, real women shit. Let's do that.
Shit's hard. And also it's funny. They don't.
Let me just pull my bush out of my bush.
Cheers.
Cheers. Unfiltered.
Because if you want a show, we're a shit show. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Mature-ish Mommas, Life Unfiltered. Oh, the way you turn me on. Right stuff. You got the right stuff.
Woo!
Get in here. Maybe I'll just move my computer over there.
Get in here. Get on it.
Oh.
Speaker. Hey. Loose, hanging
Hold on.
loose.
Hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Pause real quick.
Pause.
Action.
Cass has been going, well. Look who it is.
It's Megs the Legs in California.
It's us.
We're sun-catting today, which is great. We're also both wearing hats because Megs has fresh hair.
Fresh, like freaky fresh, like it came off of a line at Jimmy John's like 5 seconds ago.
Jimmy John's fresh hair. And I've got fresh Reiki face.
Yeah.
Reiki face because I just came out of the Reiki chair. My head shoved in a hole for an hour.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
That is the way to do your afternoon.
Yeah.
Afternoon delight. Boop,
Boop.
whoop. Hey, guys. Okay. So we're mature today.
Yeah.
We
Feeling it.
I know. I'm feeling it too. We've been, hold on. Don't get too far away. Mama,
get on over here, girl.
Get on up here,
on over
little
here.
lady. We've been so mature-ish.
Yeah, we've been mature.
Oh, yeah, without the ish.
We've been not ishing it. We need to ish it up.
I almost want to just be ish. I don't know if this is a just ish conversation.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it is a little bit, it rides the freaky deaky area that some people just don't know about yet.
Let's ride that. Let's ride it.
Let's ride. Can we come on, ride that train? Can we sing half of today's and ride it?
I think every time we say something that we think of a song, let's just sing it today.
Okay.
Because that's where our spirits lie most of the time anyways.
That's true.
So let's just let that roll.
What's your spirit animal? Do you guys have one? Because ours is a canary apparently today because we're canaries.
I can't whistle.
Oh, that's a fun fact about Maze. Did you guys know?
I can only whistle very tiny through my teeth. That's all I got. That's all I got. I can't.
She can't whistle,
Nope.
but she sure
Can
can
you?
blow. Yes,
I'll blow my friends.
Remember, that's igniting. You guys pay
Ignite.
attention to every show or you're not going to know what we're talking about.
Take notes.
I can whistle and I can whistle very loudly and I might hurt our friends if I
Like
try. I can do that one and then just the normal out and in. And then also like if there's a group of like, I don't know, let's just say you're in Disney World and then your son's having a medical emergency and then you're stuck in the fireworks and there's literally 40,000 people right next to you.
Yeah.
You just go and people, they stop what they're doing and they look because that's batshit crazy. Okay, so I did just get back from this Reiki session and then I told Megs, I said, hey, you want to talk about this? Want to chat about it? Because some people have never heard of it. Some people have. Some people are like, hell no. And some people embrace and love it.
Yeah.
So what's your Reiki train? What do you got?
My Reiki train.
Come on, Reiki train. Reiki got it.
Hey. I've experienced Reiki one time in my life.
Okay.
And nope, I'll take that back twice. It's coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now.
This is going to be simply the best.
Yes.
We apologize, you guys. It's fine. There's not like even like a button you can push for undoing our singing. So
Nope.
bear with it.
And you can't fast forward because you don't know when we're going to talk again and when we're going to sing again. So, 2 times in my life. One time I was a child. I was a younger kid. My aunt used to do Reiki.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I do remember, I have a very specific memory of that. which is fun, and I'll share. And then so when I was first out, I went to school to be an esthetician at one point in my life. That was one of my 50 million jobs that we'll get to sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got out of school.
Working 9 to 5. Sorry.
Wait, how does it start? Yeah, what is, I can't remember. Get up, pour myself a cup of inspiration. Oh, sorry. That one I apologize.
Table that one. But don't edit it out.
No.
It's too good to edit out.
Yeah. And so I worked at my first job with that after I graduated schooling. I worked in a really like new agey Morrison vintage Victorian home that had been transformed into a spa setting.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
And it was cool. There was and on the bottom level they did hair, and then you walked up this little crickety staircase, and there was a room for massage and my room for doing facials and things, and then there was a lady who did acupuncture and Reiki. And I had an experience with it there too.
That sounds like the proper entryway. You go into this like kind of old, like, is it creepy or is it cool?
Yeah.
Because Reiki maybe is both of those things.
Yeah.
And then you go up this crickety set of stairs. Like, is this going to really hold me up?
Yeah.
And then you get to this room. That's what.
Yeah. And like, even as she would walk around the room, because it was all wooden floors, like original wood, it would be like, and you're like, okay, I think this is part of it. I like it.
This is
like,
fun.
Yeah. I'm like, those creaks are getting into my soul.
The soul creaks.
Yeah.
Soul creaks. Interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So 2 times in my life. But
Okay.
give us your take on that.
Okay, so the first time that I had heard the word Reiki was after my concussion. So I had this traumatic brain injury and kind of had to go dark, and I didn't really work for a year. It was an interesting year. My best description is that I was like a house cat because my brain didn't operate. So I would just like wander from like this cozy warm spot. I would go from spot to spot and just nap. And if you can imagine,
started like licking, like licking yourself.
I probably, if there were video, you might catch some of that.
Okay.
And it was like a year of napping.
Wow.
But when I was starting to come out of the, I don't know, brain injury state, I don't really know. It was my first time guest speaking again. I flew out to Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
And I told them before they like brought me out, I was like, just so you guys know, my brain still doesn't fully operate, so I might forget what I'm saying mid-sentence, and I will ask you what I was. And I told them all.
Yeah.
And they supported me a couple times to remember what the hell I was talking about.
I mean, hey, but that's good for you for just saying, this is what I'm going through. I'm going to be there. I'm showing up, and this is how I need your support.
Yeah. I'm a real person, and this really happened, and I still knew that I had something to share or a place to support people from. So did it. And I just happened to have this friend from the University of Denver who lived in Minnesota. And she was like, hey, you want to get together, while you're here? I'm like, of course, that sounds awesome. So we get together and we end up going out and having a drink after like the whole group had gone out for a meal of food. And we're sitting there and I'm asking what she's doing. And we're catching up. And she says, so she does Reiki. And I'm like, she's like, do you know what that is? I'm like, I think, and I picture a tool shed instantly, right? I'm like, okay, so you got the shovel, and you've got
and the rake,
and maybe that's where it all came together. Yeah. But I mean, there was like a shovel, and then there was a rake, and there was some of those landscaping scissors, and then there was a Reiki. I'm like, is it some sort of tool?
Is it like Texas chainsaw?
Yeah. She's like, it is a tool, but not in a shed, Cal.
Yeah.
So that was my first conversation. I think it's a tool and tool shed. So we continue to talk. She's sharing with me. And then she's asking questions about my concussion and about my past and I don't know. I didn't realize I was being Reiki. Here's the whole point of this. So like Reiki can look different ways. It's energy movement at its core. And by the way, we did not research or look up a single thing before starting this episode. So don't think we're going to be like quoting Wikipedia.
Anything.
Yeah. Or anything except for Megs and Cal.
Yeah. And maybe some Whitney Houston.
Yeah, there might be that. Yeah, and made up words. For sure, there's going to be some razzle tazzle. Whatever. That razzle tazzle. Yeah. And so it's a movement of energy.
Yes.
And it can often come from a release or letting go. At least this was my experience for my first time. Yeah. So we're just chatting. And Jen, if I get this all wrong, go ahead and comment and fix it because this is what my brain that was kind of memorized did.
Yeah.
And
your super healthy brain at the time,
yeah,
too, right?
it was just, it was fine tuned.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing some different things. And then all of a sudden, and I had had a headache for about a year. Like I wore peppermint oil, and not like a migraine, but just like an obnoxious, dull pain across the front of my lobe or right where the shelf had hit me.
Oh.
And so I would do like peppermint oils and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, Jen, my headache's gone. And she's like, yeah, I saw it leave. And I'm like, the fuck you talking about? That was my reaction, because I'm not like, I'm not that, that's not my jizzy jam. I mean, like I do a lot of different things, but I had just started doing yoga, for goodness sakes. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
So she just explains how, like, some of the basics of how energy works and how I was carrying some things, and just how she just saw it leave. And
she was helping that move out of you at that time, just having a conversation.
Supporting me through conversation, as well as somebody who I think there's different types of talents in Reiki, but she was like, she's moving, you can move energy through someone anywhere, which also really weirded me out at first too. Like, I thought you need to at least be in a room with someone, because it's weird enough to be in the crickety crackety stairs, let alone someone be in Minnesota while I'm sitting here and still have that experience.
Yes.
But that's a lot of what you'll find if you go try to find somebody who does Reiki, is they're going to like talk to you over the phone, and you're like, you want me to pay you how much to talk to you on the phone and that's going to work? Initial reaction, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Until this concussion after a year leaves my body. And I'm just like, and she's like, now the pain probably will come back, but what you get to do is just sit with it, remember some of the things that we've talked about, and then you release it again. And can you hear them?
Yeah.
What
They're
kids?
having a horrible time.
Yeah,
obviously.
we're not moms. No. We're not mature anyways. We're just the ish moms today.
Yeah, we're ishing it for sure.
We're ishy.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, amazing.
And after that sort of experience, like when you go from one point of never seeing and thinking everything's weird to like having a full on transformative experience in your life, I'm like, okay, like that's all I needed. This shit is real. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So it was real for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's amazing to go from not even knowing or thinking it's in a tool shed to being like, my headache is gone that I've had for a year.
So, I mean, and there's probably, if you have a Reiki story, like if you ever tried it or done it in any of its formats, whether that's just like pure table energy work or conversations or connections with maybe people who are connected, like spiritual practice, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
For you guys to connect with each other too. Or if you are, or if you know someone who is.
Yeah. Who do you go to? Where do we go? Where do we find them? How do we find them?
Yeah.
And maybe you're interested in trying it out for your first time yourself.
Yeah.
Giving them a phone call and just saying, hey, I just saw these two crazy bitches talking about this stuff, and I'd like to try it.
Talking about you and me, talking about all the good things and the bad things that may be.
Maybe we should do an opera with that song.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I'll tell you this. So since then, I have referred multiple people to her specifically for Reiki. People have done it from across the nation. I've done it online. I've done it in person with other people. I've had different types of Reiki services. I've just opened myself up to what I'm going to explain that I think it is.
Yeah.
Again, Caley-pedia.
Perfect.
We're all energy beings, and you can jump in on this because you might know some more words I don't remember. Ions, electrons, protons, neutrons, those are like what we are, right?
Yeah.
And everything, every single one of those things shakes. That's what, like, it's got a vibration.
Like vibrates, yeah.
And we have different vibrational levels, and different things vibrate at different levels, including like from down to like, if your whole body is made of all of those things, it comes all the way out in you. So we each have a vibrational and energetic state that we're carrying at all times, as does objects, which when I started getting into that, like that was like even getting weirder because they're made of certain materials, which are made of certain ions, protons, neutrons, and all the things, right? Does that kind of sound like pretty right?
Yeah, I think that's right on.
Yeah, flowers have different energy. Like rose is one of the highest energetically vibrating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you can look up binaural beats and like look at the different energy of wavelengths of sound.
What was it called?
It's either binary beats or binaural beats or both, maybe.
Okay.
It starts with a bi. So there's that, you know? And like you can find different frequencies for the, like your sleep cycles are different frequencies.
Gotcha.
I'm glad we didn't research any of this beforehand. So you guys can just know we're humans. What I know to be true, though, is as I've started to tap into the vibration of my body and trying to identify what energy sits within me, I feel like it's been very supportive in me moving some things that haven't felt very good.
Right. Yeah.
And embracing the things and a way of being that does feel good, because higher vibrations, it's not like just like the good vibrations. Come on.
Yep.
It's not just like a song. Like there is actually higher vibrations. Being of high vibe feels, that's what joy, happiness, laughter, excitement, all of those are high vibes, where hatred, anger, jealousy, sadness, depression
Low
are
vibrations.
they vibrate at a different level.
Yeah, but vibes have become kind of like a they've become like a catchword. Like good vibes, man, or like it's totally good vibes. But that's like literally what it is. Like it literally is the vibration that things bring. And just how I like to make connections with everything. I just started listening to this new it's new to me. Another documentary podcast called The Telepathy Tapes.
Ooh.
And it's about nonverbal autistic people.
Yeah.
Who can speak to each other through their minds.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah,
check that out.
The telepathy tapes.
Figure out how to tag it, list it, wipe it, swipe it.
Yep. Bop it.
We
drop it. Whatever.
Yeah, we do.
So anyway, so I just feel like that has something. And actually, in one of the episodes that I was listening to, they were talking. One of the children, or who's maybe a teenager, they have like letter boards is how they communicate, by pointing to letters. And he was explaining how things have energy, everything. He can
feel it. Yeah.
Yeah. And his mother she was a very, I'm going to butcher the word because I can never say it right. An evangelistic.
That sounded great.
Christian lady. So like high, big church, like big Christian stuff.
Yeah.
And her friend had given her some rocks that she'd prayed over.
Okay.
And said, I want you to have these rocks.
Yeah.
And she was just like, okay, like that's not what I have ever been a part of or known or been connected to in that realm of the world.
Yeah.
And she said, thank you. And, graciously accepted them and then just kind of put them in her room. And her autistic son busted into her room and was like, rocks. And she's like, you want my rocks? Yeah, here you go. Give him the rocks. And they'd asked him about like and now he collects rocks.
Wow.
And he said, I needed those rocks because they have good energy and I need good energy in my life.
Wow.
But I need more good energy. So So, I mean, this is someone who has never been able to verbally express themselves.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna
anyways,
check it out.
vibrations. Yeah.
I mean, it's so incredible to think about, especially because there's this knowing that we have when we're born, when we're children, when we're toddlers, because that's the state that we're born into, is understanding and being closely connected to our truest self and our vibration.
Right.
And then we have an unlearning process, which has been brought on by whatever your societal factors are. So maybe you never unlearn because you have an aunt that does Reiki, or maybe you're more closely connected because they're embracing that, or maybe you had an experience that caused you to unlearn or desire to unlearn it. And then we have this coming back to, for a lot of us right now, especially in our spiritual day and age, which I'll talk a little bit about, but I'm not well versed in either. Mm-hmm. You guys are welcome. We are really crushing the game today.
We are experts on nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And you know what I love about that is like you might be, and who knows where you're at in that realm of knowledge or belief.
Yeah, knowledge. Yeah, or belief.
Yeah, but the fact is that there can be something that occurs in your life that opens up a door where if you choose to just like pull it back a little bit and check it out, then you can make a better decision. Like, does this feel like it fits good with what I want for my life?
Right. And that's one reason I think that we like to talk about these things, because even though we don't know it, we're not Reiki masters, we're not spiritual masters. But it just opens up a conversation.
Yeah.
To just start talking about it. Like, let's talk about stuff.
Something, the woo-woo, or people you'll call, And, and then I think for us being mature-ish moms, our generation, we've talked about like generational knowledge, and, we're at a point where our parents probably, likely, maybe, might be not have been as open. So then it gives a little bit more disconnect with us.
Right.
And then I was looking at my kids, the bigs especially, because I can really connect with where they're at.
Right, because they're like adultish.
Yeah, so they're adultish. They're much more. I'm not going to say like they're practicing, but they're not opening. They're not closing doors. They're not saying that it's ridiculous. Like they know that we are energy beings. They can acknowledge that we are scientifically energy beings.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's neat to watch how that morphs.
I know. And just another fun fact that I'm probably going to get wrong, so let's not call them facts, but I'm going to call them Maggie facts. Max.
Here's a little Mac for you.
That we are, as humans, I think negatively charged. That's like the way that our bodies are just charged with stardust.
Yeah.
Because, I know what I'm talking about. But the ocean is a positive ion.
Yeah.
And so that's why we are so drawn to the ocean, especially, but the water.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes, when you just get to the beach and you're like, God, I just feel better. I feel better. All my people who live by the beach live longer. That's why there's so many people who move there when they're older, because like your body connects to that charge. And when you get those two charges together, it just like makes everything fantastical.
It is pretty magical. And I can tell like we're continuously being called to the beach over and over again. We've now got our next beach event coming up here in 60
We're landlocked mermaids here in Colorado.
Yeah. And I can tell that we need it. And then once we get there, like allowing ourselves and embracing that, just like how freeing that is, not just for ourselves, but for our kids.
Oh my gosh, that's the best to see them out there, man.
Yeah. Just
and our husbands
too. Yeah.
It's like, I like vacation Johnnies.
Yeah. After today, what you guys be like, so I listened to an episode of Mature-ish Mommas, and they said, honey, that we have to go to an ocean in the next 2 months.
For our souls, for our marriage, for our family. We got to go.
There. Yeah. So just, you're
prescription.
welcome.
Here you go. From Dr. Mature-ish.
Dr. Mature-ish Mommas. You're welcome.
Here you go.
PH Ditties.
All right.
Okay.
Big old titties.
And throw that in at the end too.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to get to moving because look at my face. I'm going to turn into a wad of fire. Just kidding. I'll close the blind in a second.
No, I like it.
So today I had another Reiki session, and we'll hear about yours. And I am not the best at self-care.
I think it's a really hard thing to do as a mom.
Yeah,
anyways.
Any woman or mother ever
to start, and then it's like mom. Yeah, because it's like, I mean, just because you just kind of come last, not because you're putting yourself last all the time, but you just that's the hamster wheel that we're on as being moms. So, yeah.
I mean, just leaving the house, trying to get like everything arranged to have wit and watched. It's like it is what it is. But I feel like I've done so much better this last year since we've had an entire year since Witten rang the bell, and I feel like I've had a lot of coming around, right?
Yes.
And yes, and also after today's session, no, because because it still is where I mean, the last time I went was 14 months ago, so that's not like very regular practice. If you're trying to like,
that's more than a year.
Yeah, it is. And when you think about like regular massage, regular meditation, regular yoga, whatever, like I have not been
regular showers.
Yeah, that's let's just throw it on the list. Hey beanies, you're welcome. There's other days where we wear those for that reason, but it's just it doesn't hit your priority list. So I have since December, right before Christmas, had this like
right. You talked about it before. What did you name her?
Rowdy.
I
did. Yeah, I talked to you guys a couple weeks ago, and it's just been like living there. I'm like, dude, this is not. I know that persistent physical sensations can turn into something that it can turn into something bodily and actually like physical,
manifest inside of you as a sickness
or or just something that you don't desire.
Just like
So when you're aware of something that feels a little off in your body, doing your best to get that moved through is supportive. So I've tried the 3D things that I can. I'm like, drink less caffeine, do less, just change your diet, exercise more output. But when you're able to go and see someone who is a professional, what I got today is not only do they sit there and support like actual like movement of energy, which I know sounds really weird to some of you guys, but like actually like moving that through my body. Also, though, she gave me tools afterwards to support my big things are grounding. They've always been grounding. As a gymnast, man, I'm flipping, twisting.
Yeah, you're trying to get off the ground as much as you can.
Yeah. I want to be up in the world, spinning around. And so it's always been about grounding, but then also about like opening my heart chakra, which do you ever feel like this, where you're like bent over, right? And then you open up and you like even like you tap your chest, you touch your chest, you're like, oh, hey heart, I feel you, I see you.
You're in there, yeah.
And having different practices like that gives me a physical way and tangible way in my world to move energy through my body that I don't want getting stuck.
Yeah. Yes.
So today it was good. I felt like I got to move through it. And then Megan showed up and I was like, I'll talk at the very end maybe about the Kundalini, but I was like, I'm going to go do that real quick before you got here because I just needed a little bit more of a movement.
Of a push.
Mm-hmm.
Push your real good.
I want to hear about your Reiki experiences.
Well, mine aren't as cool, but yeah.
Just tell us. So when you're a kid.
So,
what? Yeah. Tell me.
I was like a kid, preteenish, I feel like. And no. It had to be before because we were living on Cody Street still. And I moved into that. So maybe I was a preteen. Yeah. So I don't even know why it was like my turn to have it done or something. But I had an aunt who was very into that and into the spiritual world of all sorts of ways. So she was just, she was a really cool lady. And actually, she was the reason why my name is Megan. Oh, isn't that cool too? That little connection. Yeah.
Is her name Megan?
No, her name's Maureen.
Okay.
And so just to quickly wonder why, she's my mom. She was my mom's oldest sister.
Okay.
And she had 2 kids and, it was the early 80s. So she was like, my mom was pregnant with me and she said, oh, if I ever had another daughter, I would name her Megan. And my mom was like, oh my God, I love that. My name was going to be Jessica, like every other 80s kid.
Yes. Yeah. Jessica. Yep.
All the things, whatever. And I don't know. I don't feel like I look like a Jessica.
No.
And it doesn't fit me.
I'll try it for an entire podcast one time and just see what we think.
Yeah.
But
and my mom was like, oh, well, I really like that name. Are you going to have any more kids? And she was like, no, you can have it.
Oh.
So I got to be Megan, which
love
then became
that.
another really popular name in the 80s. But that's cool. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyways, I was sitting on my couch in my house and she just, I don't know, my mom probably was like, told her like that I needed some help.
The kid on the couch there, she needs help.
Yeah, she needs help. Go help her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she said I'm going to do Reiki on you. And I'm like, okay, like, you're 12. You're like, whatever, go ahead.
Yeah.
And the kind of like this, but also like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like it's a little, because she's just like, just lay here, lay back. And she would like put her hands over and find places. And so I just was kind of like, okay, my kooky aunt is like doing some weird stuff on me, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, close your eyes. And then she'd ask me like, what do you see? And I was seeing like Native American people, because in the 80s, there used to be this song and my sibling was singing it. And I don't know if she put the connection together, but it was like 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I see Indians.
Yeah, of course.
She was like, oh, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and I don't like necessarily remember any big significant feelings of that, just feeling. And maybe because in my like 12-year-old brain, it was feeling weird.
Yeah.
So I was feeling things.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh, I don't have a headache.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it was at. And then also like, do you really process that stuff at that age? So into a space where you can be like, we're all energy. And, so that was my first experience with it. And then it wasn't like weird enough for me to be like, don't ever do that again. Or like, that was weird. It was just like, okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm done.
And then,
try it again in 15 years.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, when I was at that place, I got to do a lot of cool stuff there. Like
That's
lots
cool.
of she was a very spiritual woman who owned it. Her name. Yeah. So yeah, it was really cool. I got to be introduced even more so into a lot of openings in that way, angels and things that she was into too, which was cool because I like knowing things or just hearing about all types of things. I like to just get the information, take it inside my body, take it inside my brain, and then be like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Or I definitely connect with that. Or like,
that one's not for me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Send that back to you.
Yeah.
But thanks, like I'm glad I'm a knowing person. Like I want to know, like, even like, just as an example that's coming to my brain is like when I first was with my husband, I was like, I want to know if I'm in a room with like a girl that you had a relationship with, because I feel like there's power in me just knowing that. Like, I'm not jealous, I'm not upset about it, but I don't want like the underlying thing to be like, oh, well, she doesn't know what's going on. You know what I mean? So just all the knowing. I just like to just have
you
some
like to know in the physical world, and you were being opened up to a knowing in the spiritual world, and just being able to embrace whatever you want to embrace.
Yeah. So I did another Reiki session. So I did another Reiki session when I was in my late 20s or whatever that was. And that one was really cool. I did have a very emotional response to that because, again, like, you don't do anything forever. And then it's like, oh, something's happening. So that was really cool. I could feel like temperature differences inside my body when it was happening, which was really amazing. Again, nothing like super profound in the moment like you did, which I think is amazing. But I think that's also part of the whole thing is like, not everybody has the exact same experience, and you're not going to be like, oh, my femur isn't broken anymore. Like, it's not like that always, The only one experience that I had of all of them was like that. Yeah. Which is amazing. And that's what you needed in that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I did enjoy it, and I did get up, and I almost kind of felt like, oh, I'm like not, I've got to come back a little bit, because it was like some things were going on. Yep. And I did let go of some emotion that was stored inside that I needed to. Because like I said before, like, I'm not really good at all that stuff sometimes, and especially not in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Like, I was not.
Right.
And so to lay there and let some of that go was awesome. Like, crying. I just cried. Like, I wasn't like screaming or like angry, but I just got to let some tears out that were trapped inside. That was like, I didn't even know really that was trapped, know, because you're not like, it's soul searching really at that age. So,
that's not even an age thing, you guys. That's in any time in life.
That's true. I'm still
yeah. Well, and if we haven't been exposed to it, like that's what today is about, like just giving people exposure so they can have some information so they can decide if they want to try something different or not. So even in your 40s, sometimes some people are never ready for it. Mm-hmm. Some people are early age ready for it. And it's just a matter of allowing yourself to not judge is what I would say. Like, not be like, oh, I don't want to, like, just coming right from a space of this is what I've been taught, so this is what I know. Instead, being open to receive yourself and just see what your experience is like. And then, do you like it or do you not like it?
Yes.
And when we talk about the woo, like woo-woo or whatever, because that's what I would always call it. I mean, it moved from Reiki to meeting someone who communicates with people from the other side, to, having my grandma deliver me very direct messages when she was around or not around, and having just these interesting spiritual connections.
That's awesome.
That have been cool. And also sometimes I shut down. Like I do. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, this is a little too much for me. I'm a little bit like, it just kind of, I don't know if I'm like ready for this right this moment.
Yeah.
Because it can be different, and like creaky stairs that you're walking up into this old Victorian building that you've never been in.
Yeah. And new unknown is scary. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's just even like our survival instinct to be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should tread lightly or go a little bit slower or like pump the brakes, or, just because it's like, can you even take on that capacity of feeling or whatever it is you're going through? So, yeah.
And in this, it's interesting because it is something you once knew. Just so you know, we all knew it at one time because we were just an energy.
Because we are.
Because we are, yeah. And we came into little bodies.
Yeah. And I think that it actually is very evident in young children, especially because if you watch them interact with people, they pick up on their energies and they see it. And you see that through, especially with your own child. Yeah. You see how you're like, yeah, come on over. It's okay. Like, come,
don't need to be around them.
Nope. You don't have to. Yeah. So, and that's all they have. So of course that's what they're using, it is their tool.
I'm instantly like picturing somebody who's watching right now and they're like, every baby wants to leave my side the second they get in my arms.
Maybe go to a Reiki session.
But you're so right. Like there is they're little innate beings just being able to understand what they're around and to move emotions. Like I feel like I'm like living in this world just right in the middle of writing my book about living like a toddler right now. Like that's a couple of the really big lessons. But allowing ourselves as adults to have the opportunity to connect and move emotions so that we're not storing them. One thing I wanted to bring up is because after Megs had me read Proof of Heaven. Thanks. Let's just go ahead and do the right name. I started The Greatest Secret, which if you guys haven't read The Secret, that's more about your energetic connection to things and how when you think about something, it becomes with incredible amount of evidence to the truth. I like the Netflix series because you don't even have to read a book.
Oh, they have a series.
Yeah. I mean, or just like a show. It's just like, Netflix. The Greatest Secret actually really dives into spiritual connection. And I want to do it for book club, but I'm like, some people are going to be freaked out about it. Also, a lot of people are going to need it too.
Yeah.
So
and if they're freaked out, that's like their choice, right? Yeah. That's what we're saying. Like if it's not for you, then that's okay. Right. Like let it not, like you got the information. It's not for me. Thank you very much.
And it is like, I think for so many people, your eyes are open. You're like, wow, this shit's really freaking cool. Like the fact that I can connect and I can control my energy and I can let go of that inside me. And one of the things that she talks about is how when everything that we feel or experience is an opportunity to let it go because it's something that already lives within us. So if you have no anger that lives within you from your entire life in your childhood, which by the way, we all have something in there, right?
I'm like, yeah, I'd like to meet you. Yeah. If you don't,
then could you be on the show? That would be really cool.
Yes.
So we have all of these things stored up. And then there's like this moment, right, that we were angry as a kid that stored anger. And then any anger that's still left in there has the opportunity to present itself when something creates anger in your world. And what I love about this is that when you're presented with a situation that evokes a negative emotion, then you're able to be like, you just see it. You don't judge it. You're not mad about it. I mean, even if it is anger, like it's just there. You're like, oh, cool. There's some sadness that's in my body after your Reiki session, right? That lived there that's now crying out. You get to release a little bit of that and just let it go. And then you make this full clearing for your innate state of being that we get to have, which is complete joy and bliss. But it's like we have to just keep allowing our body, just smidgen it a smidgen or a wash away or a headache be gone, just allowing ourselves to let go of that negative energy that's not serving us.
Right. Yes. I love that.
It's cool.
It's kind of like in the same way that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts just come and go. And sometimes like you think of something really weird or you have this new thing that everyone is having that we all have had, but intrusive thoughts, right?
When I heard my daughter say that at first time, I'm like, wait, what exactly is that? I'm like, oh, so things I've had all
your
my life. Got it.
Yeah. Like,
weird shit.
What would happen if I ran my car off this bridge right now? Like, and then you're like, oh my God, like you could really get stuck in that and be like, what is wrong with me? Am I crazy? Am I depressed?
Yeah.
But it's like, that was just your brain synapsing doing like something weird that it does that we all do. Right. So you got to just like ebb and flow through those too, where it's like, don't hold on to that. You don't want to have that. That's not who you are. It's almost like you have to like get outside of that and watch that happen. And it can be the same with your emotions because that you're allowed to feel things and have things. Like we've been presented recently with a lot of sad happenings.
A lot of opportunity for grief to move through.
Yeah. So it's like you got to step back and say, okay, let it go, like let it wash and then goes out and comes in and whatever and allow yourself to be a part of like the watching and the feeling of both. Like it's here.
Yeah.
And now you got to let it go.
The washing. So I'm a very visual person. So as Megan was just talking about washing, and in The Greatest Secret, a lot of conversation is about becoming awareness. And I always see like little, like kind of like specks of light, like dancing. And that's me. I'm like, I just see myself like out of my body.
You.
Dance, like just dancing around, right?
Just specks of light dancing.
Just getting it. It's kind of like a ray, but without any, I don't remember. And then like a little dance. And so I'm there.
Around the world.
Yep. You guys, we just went Raven now.
Yep. Okay.
And I feel myself out there. I see it, not like my awareness, and then like looking down at yourself and be like, oh, and I like to, when you're doing this practice, when you're having like a challenging time with anything, just being like, look at the human, right? It's your human form. But
that I'm supposed to be caring for.
Yep. There she is.
There she is.
And like today, I'm on the table. I'm like, oh, look I'm out here. Around the world, around the. And then I'm looking in. I'm like, oh, she's doing Reiki. She's doing some self-care. She's moving some things through. But what I loved about what you said is in the different things, the washing, because what I was a big conversation in my session today was like, okay, so I know that I have the ability to be aware of my emotions. I am not my emotions.
No.
Be aware of them. I'm not anxious. I am experiencing some sort of anxiety.
Yeah. And I think that the way that you state it does help too. You can't, if you say, I am sad, like,
right.
No, you're just feeling sadness or you're upset or, yeah.
And because once the sadness is gone, you don't disappear.
No.
You're not just gone. So you are not that which you say that the feeling is.
Just
yeah.
wording.
And so as we were talking about it, and I'm like, okay, so a lot of different grief, and different things. I don't think that I've probably cried as much as my body desires to cry yet. And at the same time, as I'm looking at this practice, I'm acknowledging that I can choose just to be aware of it and just kind of like let it be. It's kind of like a welcoming. So you just welcome it and like let it go, because that which we resist persists, right? So if you resist the grief, it's going to be there forever. If you resist the hatred, it's going to be forever. If you resist the depression, it's going to be there forever. But just letting it, allowing it.
Yeah.
And to me, part of that's been challenging is like, am I letting it enough? And when you said washing, and her vision today was a lot about me like standing in like an ocean where the waves are like there. So my grounding is like, the sand's kind of coming out from underneath you, and you're like, you're kind of moving back and forth, but you don't really feel like you're moving back and forth, but everything's kind of like a little unstable, still beautiful, but like could use some roots. I feel like that's what you just described. Like I'm washing I get to wash away some of these emotions that I rightfully get to process and then let go of, because if I hold on to them or resist them, either one, they will control my life. And that goes for any of us and what we're feeling.
Right. No kidding. Gosh. And I mean, and it's not an easy practice. You just, I think when you're right in the thick of it is when it's the most important to do, like really say, okay, wait, stop. Like, cry, get it out. Or, be angry. What we're teaching Cass right now is it's okay to be angry, but don't be mean. So it's like, okay, well, it's okay to be angry, but like, why, like maybe process that a little bit. Like, why am I feeling so upset? What is really triggering that? Like, and what can I do to like move through this moment? Which is it's so hard. And especially for me, anger is one thing that's hard for me, because it's like, someone said it's like that anger is like the emotion that is like protecting you. It's like your protection of whatever that vulnerability part is that you're trying to protect.
Yeah.
So sometimes I really get like stuck in it, because it's just like, but you're not doing it, or like you're not listening to me, or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it
having
feels
a kid,
noble because it's self-protection too.
Feels
so
noble.
Just like,
So, no kidding. Now it's, but what's awesome about having a kid is like you really do, get to, have those things, put your mirror up to your face and be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, is that really how I want to be? Or is that who I want to act like? Or is this what I want to teach? Because really what we're doing is teaching them by action. You can say a lot of things, but the more that you are, the being that you are is really what's being like sucked into their little spongy sponge.
Yeah.
So, no, after 41 years of like processing things a certain way, it's like, oh, cool. Look, now I get to, and I'm really practicing being like, when I do get upset in an anger way, to be like, I need a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to just step away from this. And I'm not always good at it. I'm still learning, but it's happening.
Yeah.
It's doing.
I mean, and our kids get to remind us of things like taking deep breath and because we have them do it. So when you're a toddler mom, often you get to reconnect with that part of you, which is so cool. One other thing I wanted to mention about watching toddlers process emotions is because they are so disconnected from ego, they have the availability to move through emotions like we would all benefit from, because they can go from so pissed off. The next minute, we've already seen it 5 times while we're in here. The next minute, they're best friends, they're playing, they're joyful, then they're crying, then they're tired, then they just do it all. But they don't hold on to what they were before. But we do, which is why they probably don't need as much Reiki as we are, because they're just little bundles of light and, they're doing their vibes.
Yeah.
But we've got stuff that has been stored within us after 44, 45 years of doing life, that when we give ourselves the opportunity to just try something new, maybe just, reach out to somebody who's been listed here.
Yes.
You know? And
And there's other options too. Like if Reiki isn't the one for you, I mean, I think meditation is a really great jumping off point just to even connect back into yourself.
Yeah.
Massage, touch is amazing.
Yep.
Reading a book that you've been wanting to read, or maybe just getting a book suggestion from someone like you've never thought about, like, I guess, let me try The Greatest Secret.
Yeah.
Or, just those things that that you are going to allow yourself to continue opening doors, continue letting in new knowledge, letting in new light, letting in new experiences, so that you can continue to navigate the world in a better way.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I was always about when we had Cass, it was like, when you know better, you do better. And that's all kinds of things, because like sometimes you just don't know. And so when you find out something else, it's like, well, now I can do this even better.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, when you know better, you do better.
You know better, you do better.
So that's why you got to keep trying things.
Yes. I like it. I like your list. So we've got, if you're like, maybe I do want to open myself up to something. Like maybe your first step is you just take your socks off and you just go out and stand in the sand,
stand in the grass,
in the ground. Like, so grounding, like literally, I know this is going to sound really weird, especially because you're like, you a bunch of tree huggers, like hug a tree, like just like touching.
Oh my God, trees,
connecting with nature.
Uh-huh.
What? You got a story?
No, I don't. I just was like, it just makes me laugh because, our parents, they are of that generation where like that is
tree huggers.
I know, but they were the original hippies.
What are you guys talking about? You were out there free love, baby, ooh, dude. And
you
now
were
all of a sudden-
literally called hippies.
Yeah,
that's who you were. That's how you grew up. Yeah, let's all like no more peace. But now they're like, woo, crazy kids, man. They're hugging trees.
They're out there with their shoes off again,
running around,
geez,
getting Reiki,
getting grounded. Is that what they're doing? Getting grounded.
Different. I was grounded a lot when I was a kid, but that was different.
That was a different type of grounding, and it didn't work quite as well. There's like tapping. So like if you have like a spot where you feel a weird energy, like tapping through that, touching, like you were saying, massaging, even like massage guns, like for me, grounding, like massaging my feet. So like awakening those sensations. So there's
I just
a lot.
got a grounding blanket as a gift.
I know, and I want to try it. Hey, which means da-na. That's
donkey, baby.
Yeah, Hojin. This is where we wanted to land anyways, right, Megs?
Yeah, yep.
So we're gonna get some toddler interaction. Cassie, what's something you're grateful for today?
You're grateful for the day. Yeah,
I love that.
That is nice.
I'm grateful for Caston. I really am, because as I've been writing my book lately, my kids are 4 and 5. I started this when they were in the 2 and 3s, but like up until like 3 is the optimal years to be really observing how a toddler is not yet aware of their ego and they are truly in their self. So I pull from him over and over again. I'm like, what would Cassie do?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we wrapped that baby up. Try something new.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Try something new, whatever it is. Maybe it's just something you've been wanting to try forever.
Yeah.
Just go try that. It doesn't even have to be any of this woo-woo hippy-dippy.
It doesn't.
Go, you know what? You want to take some swimming lessons? Go take some swimming lessons.
You know what? It's so funny. Like, it's like we start that in jest as we do most things, but it's actually complete reality, because if you find something that brings you into a space of joy, it's going to move you from that negative vibration to the positive one. So that could be swimming lessons or painting or go make a sandcastle.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what makes y'all happy. Binge watch something.
Underwater basket weaving. That was something that we heard a lot in the 90s, I feel like, right?
But if it makes you happy, just do it under the right circumstances.
If it makes you happy.
Why the hell am I so sad?
Yep.
See, that's why. Get your shit in order, you guys. Go take care of yourselves. Do one thing. Share with us one thing that you want to do for yourself.
Yes, because I want to maybe try some of those things too.
We might just be doing underwater basket weaving next. Today, I am grateful for the new acknowledgement that when we do podcasts in the afternoon, we will have a plethora of different light opportunities, and maybe we'll just get a light. But I think that was neat to experience.
That was really neat.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it.
I love it. I love it.
Something new.
Okay, you know what I am grateful for today? I'm going to do a shout out. I recently shared on my social media. I have not been a very hip happening social media person in a while. And I recently shared on my social media that we're doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And the women, I'm so grateful for the women that I have known throughout my entire life. From the moment I met these people, I mean, even the people I'm still meeting, it's like, gosh, the support system that I still have that I don't even like think about much anymore. You know, they're not my everyday. They're not even my every decade sometimes, you know, but here we are connected on social media, and I posted this thing, and all of these beautiful women just kept like coming out and saying, I'm so excited, or this is so awesome, and this is going to be great. And just that part of knowing that you still have those connections. And so I just want to be super grateful to all of you friends that I have met all my life, who have just continued to help me become who I am, helped me, laughed with me, cried with me in the times that I needed back then, and now are here with me at this moment, saying, like, cheering me on from wherever you guys are at now. And here I am now that I haven't even seen you in forever. So I love you. I love your guts from that
your
time.
guts
I
too.
know.
I can't wait to meet you all. We love your guts.
So thank you all.
All right, guys, we will see
you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Yep. And not a real until then. I'm never going to get it right.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Love you guys. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.